Keir Starmer has just done something that, to be honest, I think is a pretty ballsy move and I kind of admire him for. He did a press conference recently addressing the recent Beergate allegations, as they're being called. He has been accused of breaking lockdown rules. The media has kind of been on him in the last few days, but it has been a story that's actually been circulating for ages now. So the allegation is basically that he broke the rules in May in 2021, and then he was having there's a picture circulating that you might have seen where he's having a beer, seemingly, eating some food with some other people. I think the allegation is that there were more than 6 people. Groups of that size were not allowed indoors for social gatherings. What Labour is saying, though, is that actually they were working, it was a work thing. Now, that's the exact same excuse the Conservatives made for all their many parties and get-togethers and karaokes and all that bollocks. But the crucial difference here is that what Labour is saying could actually be true, maybe, because they were campaigning during that period, during the day, and then apparently what they're saying is they stopped campaigning, had a break to eat something, and then kept working until about 1 o'clock in the morning or something. If that is true, then then they weren't breaking the rules. However, we don't know, right? We don't know. The case, I think, was initially just dismissed by Durham police. They thought, oh, it's not a problem. But now they've been pressurised into investigating it more, I think, by the constant media barrage that's been going on for the last few days. And Keir Starmer addressed this in this press conference in a little speech. And he said this, which I think is a pretty baller move. So take a look.
I'm absolutely clear that no laws were broken. They were followed at all times. I simply had something to eat while working late in the evening, as any politician would do days before an election. But if the police decide to issue me with a fixed penalty notice, I would, of course, do the right thing and step down.
It shouldn't be, but a politician saying that they'll resign if it's found that they broke the rules is pretty impressive these days, isn't it? I mean, that used to be the norm in Britain for a long time, but obviously it's not anymore. Our politics has become very degraded and a lot less trustworthy. But that's actually pretty honourable, right? It's a pretty honourable thing to do, to say, yeah, you know what, I don't think I broke the rules, I was never aware of any rule breaking, but you know what, if they find out that I did, I'll go, right? I shouldn't be in an office of political leadership if I've broken the law, especially while I'm in that office, So it was very impressive, and I thought, that's a gamble. But you also have to consider that this guy's a politician. He's quite conniving. Starmer has misled and stabbed people in the back before. I'm no great fan of his, and I certainly think that the way he lied to the Labour Party and said that he would support lots of these policies and then just dropped them once he was elected was pretty disingenuous, pretty scummy, really. But he has some policies that I support, and I still think he'd be a much better Prime Minister than any of the Tories. But I think it's important to remember, he's a lawyer as well. He was a human rights lawyer for many years. He was Director of Public Prosecutions for 5 years. This guy knows the law. So he's almost certainly, done a lot of research, him and probably other legal professionals, on, just exactly how legal that sort of little gathering was. And I can't imagine that he'd risk it. But who knows? Maybe the Durham police will say something happened. It was illegal. In which case, he's going to have to resign. Will that be good for Boris Johnson or will it be bad for him? I don't really know, because really it should be bad for Boris Johnson, because it's like, well, okay, here's an example of what politicians should be like. When they get found out to be doing something wrong, they resign. Well, they should resign when they do the wrong thing. But if they're not aware of it in the moment and then it gets later found out that it was wrong, I guess that's good. But anyway, you know what I mean. So if that's not going to cause Boris Johnson to resign, and he's the Prime Minister, why on earth is Keir Starmer resign? That's the kind of leadership we need. So that's how people should react, I think. But I'm not so sure they will. I think it might be like, oh, he's resigned in disgrace, Boris is still going. That's just a bit of a concern that I have, because people aren't glued to the news. People are normal. They have their own lives. So, I think to most people, this will just be like, oh, Keir Starmer also broke the rules. That's the only thing they're taking from it. And opinion polls show us that most of the public do think Starmer is guilty. So I think in public opinion, in the court of public opinion, he's already kind of lost, no matter what happens. But I'm really not sure. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Make sure to leave them in the comments below. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.